No, Mum, I'm on camera, I know now. Wee trick I learned for a guy in the stockroom, just before furlough. I'll keep her out of here for at least half an hour. Don't you judge me. If I mentioned that I was doing this for you, I'd never get rid of her. She hates the thought of being filmed. Like it'll capture her soul or something. And let's face it, she's been jittery enough these past few weeks. She'll now go downstairs, boil the kettle, drink the tea I just knocked back, rinse the cups and repeat. My life's now broken up into the infinite cycle of brew. I've went half and one already. Feel free to cut and splice this, Rachel, in any way that you see fit. You might get a nice wee soundbite in here somewhere. I know that this is far from what you had planned for the old school reunion. You're probably really chilled out about it, as usual. I mean, you've posted about nothing else for a solid 3 years now. But true to form, any good intentions that our generation ever have get shat on from nosebleed height. What else is new, eh? Aye, I know. That's what I'm supposed to tell you. What is new in my life? 10 years. As you said in the group chat, perfect time to reflect. None of us can cry we're too busy, eh? As you can see, I've moved back home. I've boomeranged once again. I've officially moved out and back more times than we've had UK elections since 2016. Each time they're like, your room's just the way you left it, son. You know what they're like? Unrelentingly nice. I feel bad for them. They had me in their 40s and had no idea the long-term commitment it was. Nobody let them know that child rearing is no longer an 18-year contract. Did they ever tell you that they met and got married before their 20th birthday, moved into their own place the day after the wedding, and before the year was through, they had Richard, then Jamie, then David. By the time I came in the scene, all my brothers had moved out and were all running in that same unstoppable treadmill. Degree, job, marriage, kids. All before they were 25. They've all moved on now. Canada, Dubai, and Inverness. They keep in touch, but I don't really know them, you know. Don't think I ever met them. Do you mind that time we watched that crappy VHS of Logan's Run on Dad's old telly in the loft? You were predictably horrified, but I said they had the right idea. Until you reminded me that I wouldn't even exist if they offed folk at 30. Can't really argue with that one. We only have 2 years left, me and you. 30. I was their miracle baby. Apparently, they'd booked in for the snip, but went for a curry instead. A nice wee surprise. A gift out the blue. Little did they know that I am the gift that keeps on giving. They just don't get it. Why can't you be more like your brothers? They say. No, in a mean way. Sometimes I'd prefer it if they were pissed off and just screamed at me a bit, you know? Called me all the names under the sun, gave me a right bollocking. Maybe it would make me feel something. Instead, they look at me with these sad eyes as if I'm too far away for them to reach. Which is ironic, seeing as I am existing in the exact same location as them. I'm literally living on top of them. Anyway, scrub that. The class of 2010. What a time to be alive. 3 years of studying and taking exams during the biggest financial crisis in nearly 100 years. That was definitely motivational. So many of us were thinking, what is the fucking point? The whole world's going to shit anyway. No, you though. You never gave in. Remember, we were just about to sit our last run of exams, and you were harassing anybody that was 18 to vote, which pretty much just amounted to myself, Stuart, and Denise. You hounded us. I think I really hurt your feelings when I said that I'd rather drink a pint of my own piss than vote for any of them. They're all the same. Never had you down as a mug. I said that, right in the middle of the common room. Can't even put it down to stress. I mean, I'd already long checked out by then. When I told them that I wasn't going to the uni, they looked at me like I'd told them I'd joined a cult. But Richard, Jamie and David went. It was the making of them. Aye, but what they failed to grasp was that Richard, Jamie and David were fully funded from start to end. The 3 of them, they walked right into a job as soon as they graduated. I was working weekends at the supermarket at the time. Do you mind my snazzy waistcoat? Think you spent more time in it than me. It said, happy to be of service. You noised me right up for that one. I counted once. 7 members of the floor staff had degrees. Business, biochemistry, English literature. Each one of them, they owed more than 20,000 quid, but they didn't earn anywhere near enough to pay it off. What I just couldn't understand was, why would you dig yourself into a hole and then just lie in it? That was us. The class of 2010. I managed to scramble together a decent clutch of hires, but they were about as much use to me as a concrete parachute. Never told you, but see, back in second year, I quite fancied an apprenticeship, but I was told I was too academic. By 6th year, you were filling out the UCAS, and there was me still chapping in the door of the careers officer. Academia's the route to crippling debt and crushing disappointment. What can I do instead? Son, you've got great interpersonal skills. Why not enter the world of commerce? Start from the bottom and work your way up. Commerce? The consumer marketplace. Consuming. Consumed. Dad used to tell me how difficult it was in the yard. The early hours, the back-breaking work, health and safety, non-existent. It's a ghost town anyway, he'd shrug. as if he was performing some sort of exorcism. Every time he talked about it, though, see the stories, they were full of life and laughter. He still met up with his old work pals well, before all this. You can tell that they really look up to him. I look up to him. I should maybe tell him sometime. See late at night, I sneak downstairs to raid the fridge. I mean, I try and be as quiet as possible, but through the glass I can see him sitting there in his chair in the dark, watching the rolling news. Figures flashing up on the screen, too high to even comprehend. He looks like he's just been dumped into some kind of alternate universe. I don't think I've ever seen him look scared before. Good afternoon, welcome to our store. You have a wonderful day. Bit of a shift from welding, eh? They were saving for their first house in their early 20s, and there was me, saying hello to bewildered shoppers for minimum wage. I still thought that branching out on my own, that would be easy enough. I moved into a private let with a bunch of folk from the shop. It was overpriced and falling apart, but you know what? That felt like freedom. Well, the first few months did anyway. We'd already lost touch by then. That is funny how quickly that can happen sometimes, eh? I mean, one minute you're in each other's pockets and the next... Council tax, electricity, gas, TV, food. If we had paid every bill that came through that door, we'd literally have enough left each month for a fish supper and a tin of super each. I mean, fuck it. What is the point of selling your soul each and every day if you don't get to have any fun? I was back home within 6 months. Rinse, repeat that, and then rinse, repeat that again. Marriage. Number 3 on the list. Well, Rachel, for the answer to that one, see the results of number 1 and 2. Don't get me wrong. I have put myself out there. I am just another possibility in a never-ending conveyor belt of options. I can spend hours on there, binning thousands of folk I have never met for the flimsiest of reasons. Too smiley, too arty, too tarty, you know how it goes. In the time that I've been talking here, I've been smugly rejected at least 50 times. I love the pictures you put up, by the way, of you and yours. Rachel, you've really got this whole thing figured out. Despite everything, you have managed to carve out a real life for yourself, and honestly, Rachel, I couldn't be happier for you. We had it bad. And I'm not going to deny that I bottled up a lot of resentment for you. My brothers, mum and dad. That is where it stayed though. Bottled. Somehow. Don't see this generation of teenagers staying on the inside, looking out. Rachel. Shh. I've got a confession to make. Stuart. He sent some of us a message demanding we have a real reunion at the beach. He made us promise not to say anything, but to be honest, I'm tired of shafting the only good person I know under 30. And I quote, "Shove this shitey reunion video and this shitey lockdown. Doesn't affect us. Let's go out and get mad with it like it's 2010. Rachel can shove her hashtag stay home save lives." You get the idea. He really needs to grow up, eh? We're on different stratospheres, but I love my parents. I pushed them away, but they don't deserve it. It's not their fault I'm class of 2010. I'd never do anything to put them at risk. They're all I've got. Do you know what? I think I will go downstairs for that cup of tea after all.